नाम कामरान मलिक है. I teach economics A level. I've been a former spokesperson for Pakistan Education Council. I've written few books on A level economics, and I know a thing or two about how our exam papers marked and how our grades assessed. And in this video, I'll be able to give you some useful tips and useful information. So the marking is done on computers. When you take your exams in any center arranged by British Council, once you hand over your answer sheet and it goes to the staff of British Council, they send it to Cambridge International and they scan your exam paper and they make it available on the computer screen through their internal system. And examiners mark your exam paper on screen, and they use the annotations and other systems, other options available to them, which are available to them on the computer. Marking is done for the entire marking range. So if there is an exam paper which has total 90 marks, you can be awarded total 90 marks, and some other student may be awarded only a 0 if he has not or she has not written anything that is worthy of a credit. So 0 marks can be awarded and full marks can also be awarded. Marking is only positive. So it means if you are supposed to give one example and you give two examples and one of them is correct and one of them is incorrect, you can still get the marks because there is no penalty for a wrong answer, but there is a mark for a positive, for a correct answer. So that's what we mean by saying positive marking only. The students should not be penalized for their mistakes, but they should be given a credit for the things they write correctly. And marking is in whole number. You are not given marks in fractions. So there are no half marks. Marks are full marks. So you get either a 0 or 1 mark. You get 1 mark or 2 marks. You do not get 1.5 marks. So there are two marking approaches. One is tick based and one is level based. Tick based marking is quite simple, where number of ticks usually match the number of marks. So if, for example, I am marking your exam paper and I see and identify something which is credit worthy, I'll put a tick, and I will put a tick and again when I come across with something credit worthy again in your script, and then at the end of the marking I will look at the number of ticks, I'll count them and I'll give you the marks accordingly. So number of ticks usually match number of ticks, but it is not essential. In some papers, number of ticks and number of marks may vary, but usually number of ticks must match number of ticks where tick based approach of marking is used. The other approach of marking is level based marking. Level based marking is more holistic approach. So in more holistic approach, that the examiner will look at your response and he will make an opinion on our overall quality of your response. And if he thinks your level is a top level, for example, level 4, and he will award you level 4. And if he thinks your response is not up to the standard which is needed for level 4, he may award you level 3 or level 2 or level 1 or even level 0. In the case of level 0, you will be awarded 0 marks. In case of level 4, you can be awarded marks in the top range. The examiners in these type of marking make two type of decisions. One, which level will be awarded to your response. It is level 4, it is level 3, level 2, level 1 or level 0. And then the second decision the examiners make, that which marks should be awarded to you. So for example, level 4 has 3 marks, 8, 9 and 10. So 8 to 10 is level 4. So then after deciding that you are awarded level 4, the examiner will decide whether this level 4 is bottom level 4. In that case, you will be given 8 marks. Middle level 4, you will be awarded 9 marks, and top level 4, you will be awarded 10 marks. So to score top marks and level 4 and the top level, you must provide correct definitions, correct analysis, correct evaluation, good conclusion, stuff like that. Tick-based approach is used for questions requiring short answers and which have fewer marks. For example, questions requiring you to explain something or define something or identify some factors. In that case, the marks may be 4 or 5 marks question, 2 marks question. For those questions, tick-based marking is used. But for essay type questions, for more unstructured responses, for longer responses, for like 14 marks, 12 marks, 10 marks questions, level-based marking is usually used. One useful tip I would like to share with you, in case you are asked to explain reasons and you are not specified and you are not told how many reasons, but only the question only tells you to explain reasons. In that case, explaining 2 reasons is enough to get full marks, because the reasons means more than one reason. So if you give 2 reasons, it's enough. But if they ask you to give you 3 reasons and they specify the number, the question specifies the number, in that case, you must provide 3 reasons. In a question, you may be asked to identify reasons or identify factors. And in case they say identify 3 factors, and candidates write 10 factors, for example, and out of those 10 factors, 3 are correct, they will not be given 3 marks automatically. In that case, to avoid a shower approach is that a shotgun approach. Shotgun approach is that candidate writes everything which comes in his mind and tries to try his luck. In that case, examiners are given a warning, are given an instruction that they should consider only the first 5 points. So, for example, you write 10 points, and out of those 10 points, 3 are correct, but those 3 correct points are point number 6, 7, and 8. Examiner will consider only the first 5 which are wrong in your case. You will be awarded 0 marks. So please write stronger points and the points for which you are confident before you write the points you are not sure about. So in that case, where you are asked to identify 3 reasons, examiner may consider only the first 5 or first 4 and may ignore the rest. So in that case, you may not get marks if your correct points are correct factors, you have identified them, but you have identified them in later half of your answer. So that is a tip I wanted to give you. If you attempt more than one required questions, for example, there is an exam paper which has 5 questions and you are supposed to attempt only 3, and you attempt 4 questions. Instead of 3 questions, you attempt 4 questions. Examiners will mark all of your 4 questions and you will be given marks out of your 3 best questions. So it doesn't mean it is not, it is a rumor or it's not a correct information that people tell you that only the first 3 questions will be marked. All 4 questions will be marked. Let me tell you one more thing. In case there are 5 questions and you are supposed to attempt 3 and you attempt question 1 and you cross it out because you are not satisfied with the answer, and then you attempt question 2, 3 and 4 and you fulfill the requirement of doing 3 questions. Even in that case, the examiner will mark all 4 questions. Even the crossed out questions will be marked and you will be given marks from the best 3 questions. However, if you write question 1 and you are not satisfied with the answer of question 1, you cross it out and you replace question 1 response with a response with an alternate response to the same question 1. In that case, the alternate response will be marked and the crossed out work will not be marked. So let me clarify it one more time. If you attempt an optional question, let's say question 1, you cross it out and replace it with another optional question, let's say question 4. Both questions will be marked. But if you attempt question 1, an optional question, cross it out and provide an alternative answer to question 1 for one more time, only the new or the alternative response will be marked and crossed out work will not be marked. Similarly, if you write 4 paragraphs for a question and out of those 4 paragraphs you cross out 1 paragraph, your 3 paragraphs which you have not crossed out will be marked and the crossed out paragraph will be ignored. So this is what I want to tell you. And it is important and essential for examiners to mark all your questions and annotate all your pages. So candidates who use additional sheets should not worry that one of the additional sheet is probably not marked. Unless all of your sheets are annotated and seen by the examiner, an examiner puts something, maybe a tick or scene or something like that on each sheet of your exam paper, exam script, he cannot submit the exam paper. So don't worry that your additional sheets are not marked. However, if you write something on additional sheets, please do clearly mention that the part of response which you provided on additional sheet to which question it refers to. For example, if you're writing answer question 2A, please do write question 2A and then put a line and then begin the answer for another question and do specify the number of questions clearly to the examiner so that the examiner can track back and can actually link that particular part of the response to the other part which you have written on the main script. There are 3 assessment objectives. There could be 4 in some qualifications. In some Cambridge qualifications, there are 4 assessment objectives. but in most of the Cambridge qualifications, there are 3 assessment objectives. The 4 assessment objectives are AO1 knowledge understanding, AO2 application, AO3 analysis, AO3, AO4 evaluation. But in qualifications where there are only 3 assessment objectives, the 3 assessment objectives are AO1 knowledge understanding, AO2 analysis, and AO3 evaluation. Now what is AO1? AO1 knowledge understanding, it includes definitions, examples, formulas, and simple calculations, and maybe static diagrams. And the command words, the question which start with these words are the question which contain these command words. They may not start with this question, but this command word may be a part of the using the information above. Identify. So identify is a command word, and that is a command word which is used for questions which are testing your knowledge understanding. And other command words which are used for testing your knowledge understanding are state, show, identify, calculate, define, and give formula. These are some of the examples of command words. In these questions, please give small, brief, to the point answer. You don't even need to write complete sentences. So if you need to, let's say, identify. So identify or state the year in which Pakistan was made. So writing only 1947 should give you the mark. So brief answers, to the point answers, bullet point answers are acceptable for these questions, and do not waste time on these questions, otherwise you may be facing shortage of time for doing questions requiring evaluative and analysis skills and requiring and questions with more marks. The second assessment objective is AO2 analysis. Analysis is impact of one thing over another. If this happens, what will happen? For example, if interest rates go up, what will happen to borrowing? What will happen to inflation? So link between one variable with another, relationships. These are causes and effects, and of course advantages and disadvantages. Many people think advantages and disadvantages are part of evaluation. No, advantages and disadvantages are part of the analysis. So analysis is cause and effect, analysis is impact, relationship. If this happens, then what will happen? That is analysis. Questions which test your analysis skills, analytical skills, usually have these 2 command words: explain and analyze. The third assessment objective, the most tricky one, the challenging one, evaluation. Now evaluation, what does it include? Assumptions, limitations of your analysis, the comparisons, and the judgments and conclusions. So evaluation include judgment and conclusion. You may give this judgment, I prefer this approach, but you will not get the mark unless you give a reason for that. The reasoned conclusions must be provided for evaluation. And in evaluation, you can give comparisons like this policy is better, or this era was better than this era, or this policy is better than this policy because of this. For example, you may say controlling. I should not be quoting any specific term from my economics course, but I can give you a general example. For example, imposing taxes to curb smoking may not be effective, as taxes make. Let's take the example, smoking and cigarettes. So someone says cigarettes are addictive, they are habit forming. This is knowledge. Taxes on cigarettes make cigarettes expensive, make cigarettes unaffordable, and people reduce smoking. That is analysis. However, people may be willing to pay even higher prices for cigarettes, as cigarette is a habit forming good. And that is the limitation of imposing tax on smoking. So that is evaluation. So evaluation is limitation of the data, a limitation of the analysis and comparison. So taxes may be less effective than probably an education campaign, but educate people about the harmful consequences of smoking. So harmful consequences of smoking, education about that may be more effective than cigarettes, than a tax on cigarettes, because education campaigns change the behavior of people and they get influenced that they should avoid smoking, and that can have a more permanent effect on their behavior. So that is a kind of evaluation, because you are comparing one policy with another. The questions which test your evaluation skills use these command words: to what extent do you agree, assess, discuss, and evaluate. And if the question is there for discussion, please do provide both sides of the argument. You must provide both sides of the argument. So as an examiner, I will expect you to write the word however in the middle of your answer, that you write advantages are one side of the argument for for the question, and then you decide, and then you write about the other side of the argument, and you write, however, this could also be the possibility. So however word I look at, I say, okay, one side of the argument is clear, now the other side of the argument, and there should usually begin with the word however. So discuss questions must be covering both sides of the argument, and they must end with a reasoned conclusion, as I've already explained. Some useful exam tips. Let me wear my reading glasses. So you must sleep well except during the exams. Do not sleep during the exams. Sleep well before it. If you are sleepy and still trying to study, please note, you are probably not learning. Shortage of sleep affects our productivity, affects our ability to recall facts. Do not compromise on your sleep. If you have not slept properly, you may not be able to do well in your exam paper. So less study for half an hour may make you more productive during your exam paper. So please sleep well. Practice writing, not for one question, for the entire duration of the paper. Students probably write essays, maybe half an hour essay, 40-minute essay, but exam paper maybe a 2 hour, 2.5 hour. Do you have the practice for writing for a consecutive 2.5 hour period? Yes, you are prepared for the exam. No, you are not prepared for the exam. Practice, and of course, you must attempt all questions. Do not expect a high grade if you have left one question or a part of a question. Do not expect a high grade. You can expect high grade only when you have attempted the entire paper. And to attempt the entire paper, you must manage the time, and I'll come back to that. But remember that chances of getting marks on the 5th or 6th paragraph of the question you are currently doing are less than the chance of the marks on the first paragraph of the next question. So if you are doing a question which has 20 marks and you've already written 2 pages, do not start writing the third page, because third page may give you only 2 marks or may add only 2 marks. Instead of that, write the first page of the next question. The first page of the next question may give you 8 marks or 7 marks. So always learn to leave your question in case you are facing a shortage of time and move to the next question. So management of time is crucial. Divide the number of marks with the number of minutes available. In case you have a 60 minutes exam paper and you have 60 marks, so do not give more than 4 minutes to a 4 marks question, and do not give more than 8 minutes to an 8 marks question. It's simple. And of course, you should take definitions, diagrams, and mark schemes very, very seriously. Mark schemes are Bible. Read them loudly. Look at each and every word very carefully, particularly for O-level. Mark schemes are very, very handy. Take them very seriously. And when you give definition is like a mathematical formula. You take out one word of definition, you lose all your marks. Do not take your definitions casually and memorize them from a good book. And of course, it is not essential if there are certain exam paper where you have to write answers on the space provided on the exam paper. You do not need to fill the entire space, and this space provided is just a guidance. Even if you write half of that, you can still get the full marks. And even if you go beyond that and use an additional sheet, still no problem at all. As long as you write relevant stuff and correct stuff, you will be awarded the marks. The utilization of space is not an indicative of your good performance. Grade threshold. Many people ask me, how are they determined? And people ask me this question just immediately after their exams. Remember, grade threshold is the last thing that is decided. So once you have taken your exams, exam papers are marked, and all exam papers are marked, or maybe 90%, more than 90% of the exam papers are marked, then the committee which decides about the grade threshold sits and they look at some sample skips. So for example, last year there was A grade on 42 marks. This year, to decide about the grade threshold, the team will have 45 marks paper, 44 marks paper, 43 marks paper, 42 marks paper, 41 and 40 marks paper, and those exam papers will be distributed among the members of that committee. So let's say I'm a member of that committee. I will be given a paper which has probably the candidate has scored 43 marks. I look at that question, I look at that response and decide, does this candidate deserve an A grade? If yes, I'll write an A grade. If I say no, he doesn't deserve A grade, I give him B. So if out of those 10 people who are member of their committee, 6 say that 43 marks candidate deserve A grade, 43 will be an A grade. And out of 10, 7 say or 6 say 42 is a B grade, so then it will be a B grade. So grade threshold will be revised and grade A will begin from 43 and above, and 42 and below would be B grade. So similarly for B grade, this is decided. So we decided about the midpoint, 43, for the 44 and 42, the midpoint is 43. The 43 exam paper will be distributed among candidates, and they will decide whether they will take this 43 paper to A grade or B grade. If the majority says A grade, so 43 will be A grade. Majority says 43 is B, so 43 will be a B grade. That's how grade thresholds are determined. Remember, if you're doing O level, remember O level is quite easy compared to A level. That is a simple diagram in front of you. Simple piece of information. One A O level subject, Cambridge recommends 130 teaching hours. So for 8 subjects, total recommended teaching hours for 8 O-level subjects are 1040 teaching hours for O-level. Whereas for 1 A-level subject, recommended teaching hours are 360. So for 3 A-level subjects, recommended teaching hours are 1080. So many students do O-level in 3 years, which is 1040 teaching hour course, and do A-level in 2 years, that is 1080 hour teaching course. And along with that, they do SAT and they prepare university applications. So A-level is quite tough. So remember that you are very careful when you decide about your A-level, how to do it, from where to do it, and in which subjects to do it. And for subject selection and for other information, you may subscribe to our YouTube channel, which contains useful videos for Cambridge qualifications. You may look at these. They can give you information about subject selection for A-level, for O-level, and difficulties of A-level. What is the role of parents? What is the role of the students? How to do A-level properly in 2 years with good grades. And in case you still have any questions, you may give us a feedback or you may visit us, and I will love to meet you and your parents and to give you career counseling and career advice. I hope you like this video. If you like this video, please do like it, do share it with others, and of course, I will request you to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you very much.